I hear you begging for me to give you a problem to solve. I can hear you sitting there at your table saying, please give me a problem to solve so that I can then watch you work through the problem and check my work to make sure I did everything correctly. And okay, I'm going to give you what you're asking for. So here's an argument. Mechanistic materialists do not believe in free will because they think that everything is governed by deterministic laws. This is an enthymeme. It is an argument that's expressible as a standard form categorical syllogism, but it's missing something, either a premise or a conclusion. You're going to figure out what that is, and you're going to determine whether this argument is valid or invalid. Now, here are the steps you're going to follow to do this work, and this is super important, so write this down. You want to determine right off the bat, is this argument missing a premise or a conclusion? And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to identify what kinds of statements are offered in the argument. Is there a conclusion statement, or are they both premises? And to make that determination, you're going to look really carefully for indicator words, remembering that the presence of any indicator words, premise indicators or conclusion indicators, tell you that the argument is missing a premise. After you've identified the statements of the argument, you're going to identify the terms of the argument, and that may require that you modify some of the wording of the terms in the argument to make them into plural nouns or noun phrases. After you've got that, you're going to translate the two statements that you have into standard form so that you can see which terms have been used one time and which term has been used two times, okay? And you can translate it in standard form symbolically, or you can write out the terms in all their glory with all of the words if that's what you prefer. At that point, you should be able to identify the missing two terms of the statement. Which terms have only been, or of the argument, which two terms have only been used in this argument one time, and therefore are the two terms that are going to be included in the statement I'm going to create, the standard form categorical statement that I'm going to create. And then what we want to do is we actually want to create that statement. We want to create that missing premise or that missing conclusion, and then we want to symbolize the argument if we haven't already done that, and make sure that we arrange the argument in standard form, because what we conclude the form of the argument is going to depend on us correctly arranging the premises so that the major term of the argument appears in the first premise and the minor term of the argument appears in the second premise. And then we get to do the fun stuff. We get to evaluate the argument for validity. Does the conclusion follow with logical necessity from the premises that we've now identified that make up the argument? Okay, so go ahead and do this work. Pause your video. Really take advantage of the opportunity to do this. It's kind of fun. You have to admit that, right? So do the work, and then when you're ready to check that work, go ahead and restart your video, and we'll see how you did.